Happy Tuesday, everybody. Austin at Homeowners Financial. Tick, tick, tick. We had a question about how long does an appraisal stay with a property? This is actually a really, really good question because it's a different rule depending on if it's your property that you own, one that you're just looking to finance, like you're buying it, but there's an appraisal on it already, or if you're trying to use new value from a property that you've recently acquired or purchased. So let's start with the top. So in general, on a conventional loan, appraisals are good for 120 days. You can do a recertification of value up to 6 months or 180 days. However, that's when it's one current loan. So let's say you started your loan in January and for whatever reason you couldn't close it in 4 months, which sounds just awful to me, and then you needed to extend that time. Maybe you're doing new construction or work, or I don't know, right? So you could technically use that same report and update it. The updates have to confirm that there's been no negative change in value and to the property since the original time. So that's for a conventional loan. Now, what if you're doing a government loan? Now, this is where it gets a little bit trickier. So government loans, literally the appraisal is registered to what's called CAVRs. I forget what CAVR stands for, but basically the concept is that you go in and you can look in properties, you can look in people, we can see if you have federal liens against you, you get a CAVR's ID number when you're doing an FHA loan or VA loan or USDA loan. And that appraisal follows the property. So let's say I was gonna buy 1234 Main Street in January and I decided to cancel for whatever reason, and the appraisal came in at $500,000. And the appraisal said it was subject to repairs. That appraisal got uploaded in January when I was doing that purchase. Now I canceled because I'm like, ugh, repairs, I didn't want to do that, right? Just peace out. And then Allie is like, oh, it's February. I'd like to buy 1234 Main Street. I will also pay $500,000. Actually, I'll pay $550 because the market's nuts, right? Now here's the problem. This appraisal that was done for Austin first needs to get released into Allie's name, which the original lender that did the appraisal has to release that through the CAVR system. You assign it to the new lender. We have like ID numbers and stuff. 2, if we're in contract at $500 and now all of a sudden it's $550, that's a problem. You can't necessarily you could pay more if you felt like it, right? But you can't just be like, oh, can you just change that number real quick? And all the repairs that were on that initial report have to be shown as completed. So when you're doing a government loan, this is going to track with you for 6 months, that same 180 days. Because again, the report's good for 120, but you can update it for 180 months. And so even if it's done with a different lender, it follows the property. Even if it's done for a different buyer, it follows the property. So we've had instances where we've taken over loans from other lenders because they can't figure it out and we can, and it's an FHA transaction, and we have to get that original lender who hasn't been responsive, who wasn't playing nice in the sandbox, to release it to us, right? You see how it could get a little tricksy. So the other question was, okay, how long appraisal is good for in the sense of, gosh, the market's nuts, or I put money into the property and I have new value. Well, it's different guidelines, again, for depending on what type of loan you do. Now, on that government world, it's at least 6 months to use a higher value. You may have to prove that you did improvements to the property as well. So in my example, I bought it at $500. I spent $50,000 in upgrades. Now it could be worth $550, and that's totally acceptable. But if I bought it for $500 and the market's just gangbusters and if that's at $550, that is not acceptable if it's under that 6-month time frame. On a jumbo loan, you might have to wait an entire year till you use new seasoning. So it's really going to be varied when we talk about how long appraisals are good for. It depends on the type of loan you're doing, the intent of the appraisal use, and who that appraisal was done for. So thank you for watching this. Please subscribe. Let me know feedback, any other questions. This is a great one that we got. I want to know how I can remove that weird veil of underwriting and look behind the curtain so that you are as educated as possible. It's Austin at Homeowners Financial. Make it a great day.